Most people believe that dragons are found only in specific and faraway places, unable or unwilling to lair anywhere but the perfect spot. But in truth, we can make our lairs anywhere we desire. If I wanted to, I could make my home in a frozen forest, in the scorching desert, or even inside a volcano. But all creatures have natural instincts that gravitate us towards specific places. My fellow black dragons and I, we find dark, fetid swamps as the perfect home. Black and festering, the perfect camouflage for ebon scales. Submerged in the muck water like a crocodile and opening my mouth, birds come by picking carrion from my teeth. I wait until the little skittish ones are fully trusting and then snap. Their tiny peeps of fear and shock add so much flavor. But the chirping of birds and the bleating cries of beasts is but a pale imitation to the best meal there is. Humanoid flesh, the raw variety of human meat, the spicy kick of a tiefling, the rich fattiness of halfling, or the tough, gamey texture of dwarf meat. I've learned humans enjoy music with their meals. So do I. But my melodies involve their cries of mercy, their fear-stricken shrieks as I slowly gulp them down. Fear adds a lovely depth of flavor. That is one downside of nesting in a swamp. Humanoids tend to avoid them, especially this place. The very wind carries the scent of despair, and the air is heavy with loneliness. It must be close to the Shadowfell. No wonder I felt so drawn to this place. It will be the perfect spot for my new lair. But first, I need to do some housekeeping. When I arrived in these swamps, there were some neighbors. A small fishing village at the edge of the marshes. During my migration from my mother's territory to this place, there were stacks of billowing smoke rising in several directions. The wind carried the scent of blood and the cries of battle, the end result of a war. And this fishing town is full of refugees desperately trying to make a new life for themselves. The humanoids weep, having lost everything. That is music. My eyes peer out at them from the mangroves. I lick my non-existent lips. They look tasty, but one does not survive over 500 years by being rash. It would be far more neighborly to introduce myself first. I wait until the very last minute of dusk. The fishermen are all gathered with their catch of catfish, crabs, and snails. The refugees eat them with sour faces, no doubt longing for the sweet meats and fresh vegetables of their old cities and farms. But they catch enough to keep their bellies full. Some battle disease brought about by putrid water, but a holy person is purifying the waters for them. It won't be long before tears shed in misery are replaced by those shed in joy. Even now the children sing little hymns, trying to bring some joy back into their lives. It infuriates me. In a burst of power and violence, I erupt from the waters, my claws dragging a boat filled with fishermen under, and my teeth snapping the holy person in half. The people scream. They race to find safety, while a few brave ones grab spears and knives. The panic, the fear, the scrambling for what to do, and the desperation in the eyes of the brave. Delicious. Lurching forward, I spew forth acid, the deluge engulfing those brave ones charging at me. Their screams fade away as they melt into a puddle of bubbling red liquid. I let the screams continue for a moment before roaring to silence them. Hear me, mortals. I am Galgatrox. These moors belong to me now. You live here only at my pleasure and mercy. But you steal food from your host. These fish in your nets and on your hooks are mine. If you wish to keep them, then bring me sacrifices. Consider it a trade. Your bravest and brightest warriors each spring with a sack full of gold, whatever is left from your fallen kingdoms. Then you may keep your catch. Fail or refuse me, and I will reduce you all to festering bile. Obliteration, starvation, or cooperation. I can't wait to see what choice you make. I smash apart one of their huts with a swing of my tail before diving back into the waters, savoring the lamenting of the refugees and the cries of children who just lost their fathers. The ringing of a bell alerts me to my annual tribute from the fishing village. I wait, dark-scaled ridges peeking from fetid waters, my body tingling with anticipation as I spy their latest gift. A man, broad of shoulder and strong of arm. His face looks like it was carved from stone, clad in thick scaled armor, spear and shield in hand. He presents the sack of gold, declaring to the swamp, not knowing where I'm hiding. He says he will slay me and free his village, and take back all the coin I've stolen from them. The swamps turn quiet. No more chirping of birds, not even the droning buzz of flies. Bubbling up from his feet, the corpses of a dozen other brave men and women, all bloated and pickled in the marsh. How considerate of this one to walk straight into my pantry. He barely has a moment to take in the horror when I spring my ambush, bursting from the waters like a shark, jaws wide and dripping with acid. This is my favorite moment, when cries of battle turn into mewls of terror. His body will marinate in the marsh like the rest, and I will add his coin to my hoard. I do so love this fallen currency. The gold is tempting enough, but when I gaze upon the iconography of a kingdom long since destroyed by its enemies, and think how I still endure, that fills me with the greatest joy. I can't wait till next spring.
Hey you, yes you, do you like it when your silly little OCs go on silly little adventures and say silly little things? Wish you could hear them say silly little things in a silly little voice in your head, but you can't or don't want to do that? Well, I do silly little voices on the internet all day, and I'd be happy to offer my services for free! You see, the YouTube game is all about growth, and while I'm not here for fortune and glory, my nerd brain loves seeing number go up. So if we can get this channel to 10,000 subs before the end of the year, I'll be asking you to submit your favorite quotes from your D&D RPG games, and I'll voice the heck out of them. So share this video around, hit the like button, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Even if you don't want to hear my sweet molasses voice to breathe life into your RPG moments, you should still do that. Why? Because it'll make me God's happiest soldier, and I'll be your bestest friend forever. Pinky promise. But anyway, thank you all for watching, shout out to my patrons, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!